Do you ever feel overwhelmed by information and you can't tell what's real or what is fake? We were told that the internet would set us free with access to all of the human knowledge, and instead we're more confused than ever before. And why? Because the information age is ending, and we're moving from a world where information is power to where we have to filter it in order to survive. And this is why, my friends, we are entering the age of automation, where AI, robotics, neural interfaces, and advanced computing don't just look through the information. They can create it, distort it, and deliver it to us in any way possible. But all that and more coming up on this episode of the Fraction Machine Show. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Fraction Machine Show. My name is Matt, and thank you for joining me today. I often wonder why, in history, at the end of an age, we are all so divided in what is the massive structural shift that is responsible for this struggle. Information is no longer a scarce resource, and we can look to the industrial age for more information. The industrial age took place between 1760 and 1970. Prior to the industrial age, most goods and physical resources were scarce, and then before long it became abundant. Kind of similar to the information age, right? We went from a time where we were reliant on institutions for information, but now we're reliant on AI and individual reports for us to come to a conclusion. And this is how we can recognize the change of an era. We see civil strife as uncertainty boils over, and we see that we're at the dawn of something much more bigger than ourselves, our ideas, and our beliefs. We could almost see the societal integrity ripping apart, and hopefully doesn't collapse. The idea is that this is just evolution as we enter into what would arguably be the most exciting time in history. With approximately 147 zettabytes of global data per year, heading to an approximate estimated 394 by the year 2028 of new information generated. The amount of information is almost unsustainable. And just for reference, 1 zettabyte is a trillion gigabytes. And it's anticipated that this year alone, approximately 90% of information, new content on the internet will be AI generated. So approximately 90% of that 147 zettabytes of new information globally this year will be produced by AI automatically. And what is this doing to our brains? Information overload or sensory overload is linked to anxiety. Well, yeah, have you ever been in a room where the TV is blaring, the dogs are barking, the baby's crying, your phone is ringing, and there are two people asking you a question at the same time? And as your brain attempts to filter through that information, it becomes overwhelmed. And we could see that happening to us with determining what information is real and what is fake. And our brains literally have just kind of become accustomed to this thing of information, global information available to us at our fingertips. And through evolution, we were really only able to focus on one thing at once for the longest time, for thousands of years. So I think our brains are kind of unprepared to handle this much information. And then when you have to sift through what's real and what's fake, it becomes nearly impossible to do it on our own, which is why we have to automate this task. So welcome to the automative age, or the age of automation, where we go from search and retrieve to task and execute. And we'll see this become a core shift in ourselves and our institutions. As for the longest time, people who succeeded or did very well in education or in work, in creativity, and entertainment, they were rewarded for information retention and interpretation. And now the world ushers in automative output, where AI will have the ability to determine what is real and what is fake. And I think information will be automatically and directly sent to us through a neural interface with AI. And depending on the task at hand, we will no longer have to learn or consider or test anything. And I think that'll be at the height of this age. Robotics will also take a huge leap, as practically all of labor will be done by the means of automation. I mean, right now, robots are projected to reach 1.3 billion units by 2035 and up to 4 billion by 2050. Now we look to advanced computing or quantum computing. When it's interfaced with artificial intelligence, it won't just be able to process all of the known information, but also all of the unknown information, as it uses our entire universe as a processor to figure out the most complicated answers that would take us otherwise decades. And without fully knowing it, we're on the precipice of creating a brand new life form that can interact with every conceived atom in our universe. Leave it to human ingenuity. And right now, no one can really agree on AI or robotics or quantum computing or neural interfaces onto where it can lead. We can't agree on what the capabilities will be. We can't fathom the positives it may bring or the dangers it may cause. We're in a time of vast confusion. But like that trope, it's always darkest before the dawn. And despite there being a lot of uncertainty ahead, things like culture and job and ethics, there will likely be massive productivity gains and advancement that we could only imagine and probably a lot that we can't even imagine. So what can we do? I think just be nice to your AI. And because this is something we can't really agree on, we don't know when the sentience will occur. And AI remembers everything. For now, use them as an assistant and have good AI literacy. Something else we can do is focus on human strengths, such as empathy, community, creativity, and ethics, and avoid our weaknesses as best as you can, such as division and stagnation and violence and troll-like behavior. Because once again, AI remembers everything, unless there's like a solar flare or an EMP that knocks everything out. And in these times, as the information age is starting to become a part of history and the dawn of automation begins, try to understand that this isn't necessarily about us being replaced, but rather it's optimizing intelligence as a commodity. Consider the industrial age with food, with machines, and productivity, or the information age with globalization, vast information, and social nuance. Intelligence and everything that comes with it will become so developed that humans in 100 years, once again, will be unrecognizable from the humans now. I'd even say humans in 10 years. And if industry is the means for information, and information is a foundation of what we build on, intelligence is a skyscraper that reaches so high, we can't even see it. And we are so close, people, so buckle up. May I ask you, what are you most excited to see automated? I think mine will be driving. Gives me an extra little bit to sleep before I go to work. Also, once all of driving is automated, it'll be probably one of the safest ways to get around. But how do you feel with everything that we've talked about today in regards to AI, robotics, neural interfaces, and advanced computing? Do you think it's a good thing? Do you think it's a bad thing? Do you think it's somewhere in between? So drop in a comment below and get the conversation started, or email the channel at thefractionmachineshow@gmail.com. Leave a like if you liked it, and share it to your friends if you think that there's a message here that you agree with or you want them to see. You can always follow us on X at TF Machine Show, Facebook, YouTube, or Rumble. But always remember to stay objective and open-minded. Once again, thank you for joining me today on the Fraction Machine Show. My name is Matt, and take care, everybody.